Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scouser's morning coffee or tea with American Scouser on a Monday morning. Grumpy is in the house. He's only grumpy because really it's Monday and the weekend is over. But the Polish Prince is here. What's happening?
Not much. Yeah,
What things in the kingdom?
literally nothing's going on, as you can tell by us being late today. That was my fault. I was on a
I think
non-time
goes
this
without
morning.
saying, but sure.
Yeah, I was on a non-time this morning. And yeah, I mean, your weekend has ended, but mine is still continuing today. So, it is what it is. We
Oh,
live
rub it
to see
in,
another
rub it
day.
in. Enjoy. But some of us had Saturday off. Did you have Saturday off as well?
No, I work Saturdays. So
Exactly.
my
Good. Cersei, Allen, good morning, gentlemen. Hit that thumbs up. Let's get this party started over here. Not a lot to talk about. People are already started transfer shopping and stuff like that. I think the biggest news coming out of was that Friday? I can't remember, but this new goalie rule change. As you have demonstrated over here many times, you don't go by the rules when you're playing goal because we have seen your penalty kick saves. But what do you make of it? 8 seconds, or you blow out, or the ball blows up, or it's a corner kick.
Yeah, we've seen these rule changes offered in the past, and we've seen how quickly the refs abandon these rule changes, from kicking the ball away to crowding the ref to taking too much time on a goal kick. All this stuff. I think it'll be enforced for the first 4 weeks. And then there will be a major corner kick that happens because it was a half second too late, and then they'll abandon the whole thing, or they'll just not call it anymore. It
Holy
just,
shit, dude! You're getting really cynical as you get older.
I
Over here.
know, it sucks. I blame you for it. But thanks a lot. I don't see it being consistently called. I mean, that's the thing that we're going to go back to is consistent calling, and I don't think it's going to be consistent. And unless there's an actual like a shot clock like there is in the NBA,
Yeah.
right? Where as soon as the goalie, now the question is going to be, well, what if he's diving to save the ball? He lands on top of the ball. Does the clock start when he gets up? Because then he'll just lay on the ball for an extra few seconds before he gets up, right? So then you've got another gray area, and it's just going to be a mess.
So here's the thing, though. Here's the amendment. Because honestly, though, like you were talking smack about this, but even though not consistent, I was thinking about this the other day. We're watching game. Actually, we're talking about it with my brother. I will have to say that they have kind of, for the most part, eliminated kicking the ball away after a throw in, free kick, blah blah blah. I really think if you watch games now, I think we're kind of getting used to it, but you don't get it as much as you used to, where people would kick it out, people would take it, walk away with it, all kinds of like stuff. I think they have actually done pretty decent with that one. One of the few things I think they make, you know how they always do the area of focus and stuff like that, and like they call it, like you said, for like 2 weeks and then it just gets forgotten about. I think they've done pretty well with that kicking the ball away thing. So here is the rule, by the way. So there is some sort of a countdown, almost like like an obnoxious countdown. But amendment means if a goalkeeper holds the ball for longer than 8 seconds, with the referee using a visual 5-second countdown. So the referee is going to be doing the like 5, 4, 3, 2, corner kick kind of a deal. So does that change your take? So you don't
No,
have an official clock, but now you have at least a countdown. So you will know. So if you're going nuts at home, you're like, it's been 8 seconds. No, because he's actually like counting the last 5
yeah,
seconds.
he's counting the last five down. Who knows how long it takes to get to that five? That's what I'm saying. I understand you can put up as many fingers as you want, but if you don't start counting down from five for 15 seconds, then it doesn't matter what the 5 second visual aid is because you just gave him 15 seconds before that. That's my thing is it has to be concise as to when it begins, and you might as well just have him start at 8 with his fingers. If he's going to start at 5, just have him start at 8 as soon as the I don't know whether it's upon the catch, upon getting up, upon whatever it is, you start the 8 seconds there with your visual aid, like you do this, and then you're done. Because to get from here to here, there's going to be discrepancy there.
It's 3
There's not.
seconds.
not for everyone.
Well, that's the only thing.
I'm
Like, let's say
saying.
you come out for a ball and you grab it, and then you come down, not to, lay down afterwards, come down to kill time, but you grab the ball and you come down. Like, when did that start? It's like when you grabbed it, when you fell down, because I mean, it takes time to get up. I mean, I have fallen and I can't get up. Like, it takes time to get up. So I mean, is that going to count within the 8 seconds? Yeah, this is basically the visual aid is going to be John Oliver's hand. Is what you're going to be seeing.
Every game we watch is going to go a split screen every time the goalie catches the ball now, and we're gonna just say, you know what, screw that, we don't want this anymore.
Jeez, it is Monday. You're off. You shouldn't be this grumpy. As this is like I change mugs.
Do you see the potential problem there with the time?
I see a lot of potential problems, but do you also at the same time, I do like anything that will work is fine, because what gets to me is when we play against teams, they do it like teams come to Anfield and they do it the entire first half, right? They'll do it like for 60 minutes. Every goal kick takes 30 seconds and stuff like that. But then we take a lead, and then now it's towards the end of the game. We get a warning instantly in the 70th minute. It's like, dude, you didn't say anything all game. The guy's been killing time over there. So, I mean, that's the thing. I know it's not going to be as even, but anything that will kind of speed up the game, especially if you're watching it as a neutral at the time, I kind of welcome it. I mean, like I say, the kicking the ball away thing, I feel like they've done really well with it. You can argue, just like any rule, the consistency of applying it. There are times where people get away with stuff, but man, it used to happen all the time. I think we kind of sometimes these things get implemented, we forget how bad it was. I feel like that was really bad compared to what you have now, because now any single incident we're like, hey, you didn't show me yellow card, we get upset, whereas that stuff was happening all freaking damn game in the past, and we never said, we kind of got used to it. I guess it was part of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, any try for progress to enhance the game is always going to be welcomed, right? We're just going to always go back to making sure that it makes sense and making sure that it's consistent, right? Implementing things are only as good as the people who are enforcing it. We've been in situations at work probably in the past where we've wanted to enforce things that maybe make things more efficient, more smooth, whatever the case might be. And if one person doesn't do it, it doesn't work out. Right? Everyone needs to be on the same page. They need to do it consistently. So yeah, if it goes well, it's a fantastic change. I mean, but before, keepers technically only had 8 seconds anyway, right? I mean, they had 6, right? They didn't even have 8 seconds. They had the 6, but yet they were holding onto the ball for 20, 30 seconds sometimes. So, I don't know if this is going to change so much, because we still have the time to get to this from
I think the punishments will change it a bit as well, because it's not as drastic. It's not an indirect kick inside the box and stuff. I was never big on that, because those take 5 minutes to set up. So it's even worse than, the offense itself of killing time, because the wall, blah, 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 everybody's inside the goal line and stuff. I think because the punishment was so obnoxious, it was not enforced as much, whereas giving a corner kick is a lot easier and it's a lot smoother process. So it was a lot more drastic when you gave that indirect kick inside the box, whereas now you're giving a corner kick. So I think the referee's job has become a bit easier in being able to say, well, I don't know, you should have done it and then give the corner kick. Whereas before, you were almost giving away. I mean, it's not a goal. It's so freaking hard to get those in, because there's literally 11 guys inside the line and stuff like that. But you're creating a situation that's going to be talked about a week. Whereas over here now, you just gave a corner kick. So I feel like they'll be more inclined to give it as opposed to the past.
Some corners take 2 minutes to set up themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Let me talk to you. The talking thing, I never understand.
And the fact that the ref, it seems almost like every other corner kick, he has to blow it dead to talk to two people wrestling each other. That adds time as is, right? So if you really want to speed up the game, then you work on those things too, right? I mean, those are some of the elements you got to work on as well. But I get it. I understand that the punishment before was severe. But to counteract that, I mean, this is kind of your role in these shows, right? To swing it back to you, because it was so rare for them to call it, right? In your argument, you're saying because of the severity of the punishment of holding onto the ball. Let's say that it happens 3-4 times a game and there's 3-4 corner kicks out of it. Isn't that just as severe as one indirect free kick inside the box? I mean, because corners are fought for, right? So can it not be as severe if you have several a game versus one indirect free kick every 5 years?
Not really, because dude, like you know, like how these guys want to not impact the game. If they give a wrong, like a corner goal kick decision, it doesn't get as scrutinized after a game. But anything they give in front of the box, inside the box, and stuff like that, obviously is going to be. You're creating, you know, like how we don't want the refs to impact the game crap they go with. Just call what you see. If it impacts the game, it impacts the game. But, you know, in their mindset, they don't want to be impacting the final result. Like, they don't want to be the headlines bullshit, but which they do because they love being on TV. This whole, like, going back to that, talking to players, every set piece is something I never understand. You got yelled at, you got called out by your number, and then you kept playing. Like, I just don't, like, what is the conversation? You shouldn't pull, guys. Like, I don't understand what the conversation is. Like, you know, Big Brother is watching you. That's all you got to say. You know, like, Vieira is watching. I'm watching you. And, you know, done. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, are we this is not like U6. We're trying to teach them the game at the same time or something. These guys are pros. Like, what are all these long conversations about before every corner kick? If the goal of the game, goal of the ref, and the changing of these rules is to speed up the game, you would think they would come up with a better system than, okay, stop the world. You two come here. Let's have a chat. And it's just like, no, even like these warnings they give. This is more like an English referee thing, by the way, but now it's been like all around the world, like where they call the guy over and stuff. I mean, I understand calling the guy over and saying it's more for show, right? It's more for the stadium that you're saying like, hey, this is the last one. Then that's next time it's the yellow card and stuff like that. It should be a lot faster than what it is if we're really trying to improve the speed of the game. Trevor says Arteta is going to have a dedicated stopwatch for this. Yeah, I mean, you would think, though, a couple of goals, like, I don't know if it will come to the point, like you're saying, there'll be 3-4 corner kicks, because once the first one is given, you would think the goalie would be like, well, we don't want another one of those again.
Right. I mean, I was being super hyperbolic. I think sometimes that I think awarding a few corners can be as severe as awarding an indirect free kick once the last time we saw it in the Prem?
I can't even remember exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know. Even just one corner a game. I mean, that you could say that's more severe than the one indirect free kick in the last 15 years, or whatever the case has been.
Yeah, but I think that's what I mean. Like, they don't give it because they don't want to bring it to that situation. But yeah, I mean, the 6-second rule has been a joke. Like, it was never like enforced. I know, like, some of these rules, part of it is, you know, kind of like going back to your work analogy, like, you know, like the corporate changes something and you're like, that shit ain't gonna work. Like before it even starts, like, you're like, that is not gonna work. Like, have you guys ever been down here? It's easy to make these decisions up top and change it in the ballroom kind of a deal. But sometimes afterwards it gets tweaked and you're like, okay, now it might work. So it will probably get tweaked. I don't know. Like, if it's 8s, I mean, I realize they only want one hand used, but yeah, like, what are those 3 seconds? You know, like, Oliver's gonna be like, oh shit, yeah, that's right, and then start counting the 5 after it's already been like 10 seconds. But even then, we're bringing it down to 15 seconds as opposed to the 30 seconds now, and I guess anything would be a plus at this point. I'm assuming that's how they look at it. Even if it is, we miss a couple of seconds, the game is speeding up.
Yeah, I think ultimately, you know, it's going to help. I am just a bit cynical because of the lack of consistency. I mean, even like the 5-second call in the NBA with inbound the ball, every ref is a little bit different. You know, they do their thing however they do it, right? I know it's 5 seconds, so you can only have so much plus or minus within there, but there is still room for inconsistency there. And then now you also add in the factor of having 3 seconds before the 5 seconds, and we don't know how long that 3 seconds really is.
Honestly, by the way, totally off topic here, but with the new look Lakers, been watching a couple of like NBA games with Angie and stuff, and holy cow, NBA refereeing sucks.
Oh, it's bad.
Like,
Oh, it's
holy
bad.
moly, it's bad. Like, the reviews take forever. Yeah, I was like, yikes, the game is already slow. Like, do we have to really? And
Are you
yeah,
talking about
it's so inconsistent. It's ridiculous.
the LeBron block yesterday that took like 4 minutes to? Is that what you're talking about? Or
That was one of them. I was
at the
like,
end of the
oh
game?
my
Yeah.
god. Like,
I mean, I could show you some more bad refereeing. You know, we played yesterday again.
how'd that go for you?
Good. We good.
No highlights today, so
It was uploaded late, so I haven't been able to go back. There definitely is a highlight. You know, when I'm on the court, there's always a highlight, my friend. I play for the
the whole
fans.
game was one big
I-
highlight.
I'm not a fundamental player. Even, you know, whatever sport I'm playing, I'm not a fundamental player. I play so that people go, ooh, ah.
Oh, playing for
And
the
then-
fans.
And then the teammates go, what the are you doing? But the people watching get a good show. And that's what I think is most important.
You know what? Having played this explain. I wish you told me this before we started playing co-op FIFA, because I would have probably considered my decision. And yes, I know you're like Mr. Showtime instead of just getting to the point and getting the job done. Yeah, you would kill me. I would kill you on the pitch. Is my game. You're a goalie though, so you can't really do that as much in soccer. Like, what are you doing?
So sometimes, like, let's say there's a corner that comes in and I go up and grab it, or whatever.
Okay.
There was a ball that comes in, I come in and catch it. I'll look to the right and I'll throw it behind my back to the left to my left back.
So unnecessary.
No, but you'd be amazed how many people don't realize that can be done on the soccer field. They don't expect that on the soccer field. And then you've got an advantage on the left side because I'm looking them off that way and then throwing the ball behind my back the other way, and they have no idea what's coming.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, if you guys have ever watched the co-op we played on Patreon, and actually we started again. I think we're back, like went up 2 divisions already and stuff in this new game, which I'm not enjoying as much. I played the other day and I played in the ultimate, like a online team draft thing. Because then you play with different. I mean, it's just freaking ridiculous. Like everybody's like 94 and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this has become really obnoxious over here. I won Division 1 with Liverpool, then I'm done. I think I did it in like 60, 65 games or something like that. Like went up all the way to Division 1. I think like only 4 or 6 losses, something like that. I got to do the record. I stopped at 100 games last year. I'll be honest. I don't even think I'm going to get to 100 this year in seasons. Oh, here's another oddball question. Like we're just going jumping from one to one. Is it Szymanski or is it Szymanski?
Szymanski.
So sh as in sh.
When you if it's an sz, like my name, it's sh. It's s.
So it's Mateusz,
like,
for example.
Yep, Mateusz. Yep.
Okay.
So sz is the sh sound. Cz is the ch sound. RZ.
Oh, so my name would be CZ.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm gonna go full blown Polish.
Well, you'd have to do TYM.
Yeah, that's
U TYMU CZYN.
Name over. I was just gonna take one thing to me. I should actually put it with a CH so people know what the hell is going on. But yeah, I mean, Scorpion Kick Prince. Yeah, do you do that? That's what.
No, I don't really use my feet when I play soccer. So.
Yeah, which is odd actually, because most people, like, I know when I'm in goal, that's my thing is, as a like player on the field, like when you get in goal, like you save everything with your feet, because you can kind of sometimes tell. And I think we were watching a game a couple of weeks ago. We were like, that guy is not a goalie. Like he was saving everything with his feet. I can't remember where it was, but the basketball, yes, the basketball call.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, the refereeing thing, yeah, like I say, in the NBA, watching it yesterday, especially yesterday, was worse than the other nights. But I was like, holy cow, this is freaking like brutal. Like the inconsistency is brutal. And you always got to have that. But going back to the 8-second thing, like I say, I think even if it is not consistent, if it speeds up the game, I'm all for it, kind of a deal, especially when you're watching a game as a neutral and stuff like that. It will make it like flow a bit faster. So let's talk about this Champions League coming up. PSG Where are you at this? Am I in the minority over here that I almost take this as a like a free hit now? I probably shouldn't. It is the Champions League, but it just feels like, if we talked about it, we always said, I mean, at least most of us said Premier League, Champions League, like when we ranked the trophies we won. Is it, I don't know, because like one seems like almost done there, that the other ones are like, yeah, it'll be nice if we do it, but I just don't put as much stress on it as I would 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if the league was within 5-6 points, there'd be a much different emphasis on this game from the fans. I mean, not all fans, but from some fans. But I think in general, we're still. I don't know if it's a free hit as much. I get what you're saying, because it's sort of just it's icing on the cake, if you will, right?
Yes.
And so anything more than the Premier League was a pipe dream, right? One trophy was. This year would have been phenomenal for Slot coming in and taking care of that. The trophy being the Premier League, we would have taken that over anything, right? Yeah. So what you're saying is that with that title, this matchup now becomes if whatever happens, happens kind of thing, and you'll be content with the result, win or loss. Is that what you feel like?
Yes. So it's not. Damn, man, I really hit a nerve on that one. Everybody is like, John even threw the exclamation point. Yeah, I mean, when I say a free hit, it's not like I'm like indifferent to it. It just does not feel as life and death as it did before, mainly because of like what you said. I would have put more. I mean, heck, I want us to win preseason games, so it's not a matter of, like, I don't care if you win it or whatever, and I do win it. I mean, the treble would be like ridiculous, and the whole Gordon thing really helps the ordeal with the final. Gordon gets the red card yesterday, so he's out of the final and stuff. So, and Isak came out injured. I don't know, like, if he can pull out 90 minutes and stuff like that either. So it is shaping up great for a treble. You look at the teams left, it's not really as like ridiculous. The road doesn't seem as long. I don't know why compared to the past. I don't know, because you can kind of see the entire path kind of a deal right now in front of you, but it doesn't seem as long. You're like, we do this, and we're there. So, having said that, yeah, Gordon, that was a really stupid red card too, by the way.
Yeah, can we talk about this situation for a moment here with Anthony Gordon? And I understand there's a lot of people who want him to play for this club. And, I think it's fun to joke around saying that he got the red on purpose because, he didn't want to be part of the game, blah, blah, blah. But looking at that out of the context of him being a fan, right, and wanting that kind of player for our club, do you want that kind of player for our club? Having that sort of reaction on the field. Like we have sat here and we have demonized players like Nunez for how emotionally he reacts in games, right?
Yeah.
And does Anthony Gordon get a pass because he's a Scouser? Is that what we're going to say here?
See, I find it really hard to like slam on people for that just because of how I play.
Oh, and I'm not talking about
shit I do sometimes, the one that switch flips. But yes, I'm not a professional. I don't get paid the big bucks, so I would act accordingly probably if I was. Because, yeah, I mean, that was kind of somebody did something very similar in Europa. Oh, who did Club Brugge beat?
Atalanta. It was
in the Atlanta game. Did you see that one? And that was the captain. I was like, dude, like talking about losing your head kind of a thing. So I know that kind of stuff happened. Johnson, I mean, I would want him just because I do want that. Okay, like I want the feistiness. And I do want, you get that from Diaz as well sometimes. You want a couple of, I don't want to say dirty, but I want a couple of players on this team that's going to
fake an injury, dive.
No, that'll be you. No, like dirty is not the right word. Feisty or like maybe like a little over the top physical. That's going to be somebody who the other team is going to hate, like a enforcer, if you will, like a Joe Linton kind of guy that we hate playing against. Not over the top physical in the sense that like he's beating people down like a hockey enforcer, but you know what I'm talking about? Somebody who just plays.
I think that's different. but Joelinton and Gordon, I think those are two different kind of enforcer type players. Joelinton is doing it in the midfield where he's not emotionally reacting and punching someone in the face, right? He's just using his body and being that that force, right? Gordon just kind of is petulant at times.
Yes, we have seen that. I don't know why. I mean, is it the? I mean, let's face it. Like Trent is like that, for example. Like out of our team, if you said like I would say Nunez and then probably Trent. Can you think of anybody else that's like petulant in terms of like the cards they get? Not because of a tackle and stuff like that.
Not petulant, but I think McAllister has a little bit of hot-headedness to him.
Yes.
But not the petulant side, right? So I think Nunez and Trent is fair to say to a certain extent. McAllister has a bit of the hot-headedness, and I think sometimes Jota has a little bit of it too.
Problem with Gordon is he plays on the left. So like that's why it doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you're moving Diaz or somebody like that. But
and I also
for rating the Newcastle locker room, we're probably getting Isak, which does the injury record not scare people? Because it scares me.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm going crazy with people talking about the frustration of not having consistent available players and then wanting a guy who is not consistently available. I understand that when he's healthy and he's in form, he's one of the best strikers in the Prem. Absolutely. I'm not going to disagree with that. But he has to be fit.
This is an injury, but that was 15 million, and it was kind of like, let's see what happens. And he had already come back from the injury, and it wasn't like a chronic ordeal. I don't know where I'm with KSO, to be honest with you, John. I don't know what's going on over there. But you look at this record over here, especially over the last 2 years. He had like a quiet 3 seasons over there. And then it kind of like comes back. And you can kind of see where like he's out for like 3 months. And then he's out a month. These last times, I feel like some of them he's been rushed back. Because they needed him, so he comes in and goes out right away. But I do worry about that because unlike Chiesa, he's going to cost 100 million. So it's a huge investment. Like you're putting all your eggs in this basket, whereas Chiesa was like, let's see what happens, kind of a deal.
Yeah, it was a low risk, high reward. This is very much a high risk, potentially high reward. But it comes with a big risk because of the price tag. You're going to spend more money on this guy than Nunez, and at least Nunez is available, right? I mean, I understand that he's not always going to be who we want out there. He's not going to fit the system, this and that, whatever. But at least he's available, right? And when we need the depth, when we need the players, he is available. Whereas Isak, it's hard to believe that he will stay as fit as need be, unless a change of scenery, a change of style of play. And not that Newcastle, like it's not like Newcastle the way they play. It's not like Arsenal where they're just completely tearing their bodies down either, right? I mean, I feel like his injuries have just, I don't know. It's sort of like a Jota situation, right? Like we're going to be talking about the same thing where, it's great to have him 40% of the time, 50% of the time, right? And for that kind of money, that's a lot for 50% of the time, potentially, right? I mean, anything can happen, right? Things can change. Players can stay fit for a long time, but you're also not, if you're spending 15 million on someone, you can take the chance of them not having a great record. If you're spending 100 million on them, that's a lot to invest.
And I think, like John says, I'd rather have us spend 100 million balls from the back line. And here's another thing. Yeah, that's for one. I think you're going to need multiple moves this summer. So I don't think Liverpool depends, right? Like, unless, they keep most of the team and they say we just need 1 or 2 big pieces. But I would think now that he's had a full season with the squad, like Slot would prefer to get 4 or 5 guys that are 30-40 million each as opposed to one guy. The only scenario I can think of is you found Saudi Prince to give like 60-70 for Nunez, and then you just add 20 million to that or 30 million to that and go get Isak, kind of a deal. That's the only scenario I can think of that. Or you're like, hey, I was reading like, like, why don't we give you guys Gomez, and and you got the money from there, the money from Nunez plus Gomez, and then do it like that. So so speaking of silly red cards,
Speaking of
I think we get
petulant,
Cunha 50 million release clause. As much as I like him as a player and he's ridiculous, is this a case of a guy who's just not happy where he's at? He did sign the contract so that Wolves would get their bag at the end of the deal, right? And I love the guy as a player. Is the current temperaments because of the situation and not because that's the kind of dude he is?
I think it's a little bit of both.
There we go. That's not bad. It only took like 31 minutes.
I know. I was gonna say it took me a while to say that. And really quick for John, I know we're not singling you out on this, Isak. It's a fan wide thought of bringing in Isak. So it's not just. I mean,
it's almost like there are no other strikers. They're like,
yeah,
it's Isak or bust.
Yeah, it's weird. But Cunha, when we're talking about what Gordon did and what Nunez does, Cunha is even worse than that. Like, it's just, I understand his skill as a footballer, the level of play that he could potentially play at is very high. And I understand that it's frustrating to play for a club that is fighting relegation, right? I mean, there's going to be, when you think that you're better than that, better than where you're at in the table, better than, most of the guys on your team, I understand there's going to be some sort of frustration. But you're also the captain, right? And I mean, at least at some point in the season, you were also the captain. So there are things that you have to realize that in the position that you are in that you just can't do, right? I mean, if let's say we were having the really bad season where we finished, or we needed out, or we were knocked out of the Champions League, right? Finished 5th. If Van Dijk turned around and punched a couple players, it would be like, all right, is it because of frustration, or is he just sort of emotionally petulant? I don't know. Right. I mean, it's not the best. But if he did it,
like, I don't know, not now, but if he did it, I don't know, like in December or something like that, I guarantee everybody would be like, the contract situation is really stressing him out. That's why.
Maybe. Yeah.
He's distracted. Blah, blah,
but we'll find excuses for players that we like too. Right. I mean, that's the other part of it, is that we are quick to criticize players that we don't like for things that they do that other people aren't paying attention to. And we are quick to defend certain players for what they do because we like them.
Yeah, but I think in like Van Dijk's thing, it's not because we like them. It's because there's like a huge body of work. Like, he didn't just come over last week and we're like, you know what I mean? Like, it's calm as you like. So when somebody like that suddenly flips, I think it's a lot more excusable than somebody who's flipping left and right.
Yeah, but Cunha has shown that for a couple of years, though.
Yes, that's the thing with Cunha. No, I was talking about the Van Dijk thing. I mean, with Cunha, that's probably like a concern over there. I honestly don't think, and probably John is right, if Mo is staying, I think you're not getting like people are going to be disappointed. And I love, by the way, how I mean, we just happened to be talking about Isak because like the Newcastle conversation came up and stuff, but like people are already shopping, squatting, like scouting. We'll get this guy, we'll get that guy, we'll put him over here, we'll sell this guy and stuff. And this is a team that we're talking about going for a treble and stuff like that. It's like, hold on, man, let's let the season over first. But like Serzi says, next season Elliott, Kwanzaa, and Bradley will be squad players next season, full squad players next season.
Are they?
Objection, Your Honor. I don't even know if Elliott is on the squad next year, for example. Out of those three,
I think Elliott's the least likely to be a Liverpool player next year. As much as I want him to stay, right? This is not a what I want kind of thing. It is a what Slot wants and what he sees. And
did you watch the documentary?
No, because I live in the United States.
Yes, I mean, there are ways. I just been too lazy.
Yeah,
other stuff going on, and I was.
I watched the first episode with Michelle, and she actually told me, okay, you can't watch anymore because I do like this. Because I was going to be allowed to watch it on my own. And we watched the first episode, and she was like, nope, now you have to wait for me because I do enjoy this. So I was like, God bless it. So I do have to wait. But I've read comments about Elliot's dad being a total prick.
I heard it's very cringy. I saw that
Yeah.
on Reddit and stuff, like where it's very cringy, like it's like a U12 team parents vibes.
Yeah, it's just I'm not excited for that because it feels gross. And so I don't know if it happens. Whether it's the second, third, or fourth episode, I have no idea. It's not in the first. I can tell you that.
Oh, he's talking about like being better because they're. I hope this is not true, John, because I am not sold. I honestly do think. I mean, I've been saying that I think Trent is leaving, and I think we go get a right back who fits what Slot wants, and then because Bradley has shown that he can't stay healthy for long either, so not putting eggs in that basket. I think we do go get a right back that fits the style and like what Slot wants. We still do not know what Slot wants out of the right back and the left back, to be honest with you. I still see a team getting the most out of who's out there and what you have. But I think what they really originally want, and that's what I really like about Slot. You can come in and be like, this is what I want the right back to do. Well, my current right back can't do that. This is what I want from the left back. Well, my current left back can't do that. But what can he do? Let's use what he can do. I think that's what they've done. I mean, especially with like Trent, like using his passing and stuff like that. I don't think normally he wants a right back that's going to be like, dishing the ball back or like all over the place, like diagonals and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting in that sense to see the summer and which direction we go and all that. But the whole Isak thing, yeah, that's how we started this, is the dollars versus injury record does scare me. But when you do sign him, I mean, I will be like, holy cow, this could be huge at the same time. Like I say, when I was watching, I can't remember what that was, at the Newcastle game, the City game, I can't remember, but I was like, man, a left back, and it was Costas playing, so that was the Newcastle game, I think, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was that the game. I'm like, I was, because like I don't see Robertson as. I just feel like Robertson is gonna keep dropping off. So you can't play Robertson more than once a week and stuff. So I rather have a guy that he backs up, which I don't know if Robertson would be big on that concept. We talked about that before, but yeah, and I was like, like, and it's a number 9 that is really like an impact 9. Like nobody's gonna have Mo Salah like impact, but like an impact number 9. This team is like pretty darn good. So if you put Isak over there, that would be a scary lineup up top.
Give me a late 2000s Fernando Torres and I'll be happy. How perfect would he be though? Actually, it's fun to think about ex-players that you can always dream about being in a certain system, right? And how fun that would look. So it's fun to dream, but obviously that's not going to happen. But having that impact 9 and having just at least, I guess in a sense, having confidence that someone up front, if they have the ball in the box, will be able to finish consistently is a good feeling to have, because when Mo doesn't, at least, I mean, not so much recently, but several months ago, maybe like towards the end of last year or whatnot, if Mo didn't have the ball at his feet, there wasn't a lot of confidence that the ball would go in, because there wasn't anyone else at the time where you felt like they were, Diaz wasn't finishing at all. Nunez was being Nunez. Gakpo wasn't doing so well towards the end of last year, right? I mean, so having someone that you can actually feel confident receiving the ball is huge. I think for the entire team, for the fans, just for the stadium, the atmosphere, is if you have someone that you're trying to play around, right? Because we've seen passes not being made because maybe the teammates don't trust the specific person getting the ball. That's not a great recipe.
I think it's just the confidence you have, right? There's some, I get that with Gakpo. Like when somebody, like cranks a shot or gets in a situation, you're like, you get that anticipation, like something's going to happen. You get that with Mo. I get that with Jota. I'm sure you don't. But there are certain situations where if it's Jota taking the shot, you expect it to go in. You're looking at the corner of the net, expecting the ball to go there and not wide and stuff. I get that with Gakpo as well. When he cuts in, I feel like that shot's going to be on target and it's going to be a dangerous one. Don't get that as much with Diaz, because I don't even think Diaz knows where the shot is going to go. He's just like, but he has been very effective, but he's not a 9. So I think he gets too much crap for playing out of position and still giving you a lot, really. But yeah, if you get a guy like Isak, it really makes Mo even more freaking dangerous. And I think, if you were trying to convince Mo and stuff like that, that's a good way to convince him in that sense. But he becomes even more dangerous. Sergi is still asking for Mane. I'm sure that Sergi would like push Mane out there in a wheelchair like 20 years from now just to get him out there. But I mean, and I do like what like Gakpo and Diaz do when Mo get the ball, especially Gakpo. It makes those like, back post runs and stuff like that. You would have a very, very dangerous front three, and I would be all for it. And then maybe, yeah, if one of them is healthy and then Jota is healthy and stuff like that, and you wouldn't, because everybody is like, I mean, I know, like, tonight when we talk to the boys, they're always like, and not as much the entire line, but I read a lot online. They're like, he'll be gone, he'll be gone, he'll be gone. I just don't see that many changes in one off season in a team who's won hopefully multiple trophies. You just don't, break every freaking egg in there, especially if you're able to retain like Mo and Van Dijk and stuff like that. I don't think you do as many tweaks as everybody's thinking over here. I mean, I don't think we would want it, because we would think
rocking the boat.
Yeah, I mean, rocking the boat, and you feel like, man, a couple more pieces, a couple tweaks to your style is all we need. We don't need to reconstruct it. And it's not like, the people who are in this conversation of being sold are like up there in age or anything like that. I just feel like people just want new shiny toys
while getting shiny trophies. So you have to sometimes just sit back and be a realist and just enjoy the ride. As the great Kazi once said, enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. He says that, and then don't go away by Kazi. Happy belated birthday to Kazi, by the way. But then Kazi will say enjoy the ride, and then the next day he'll call everybody a fraud, and then he'll be enjoying the ride again. It just goes back and forth whichever way the wind blows. But Gakpo is like, Hassan is right. I mean, that is kind of like a ridiculous front three, knowing you got Diaz, Jota coming off the bench for those two. I mean, that's kind of like a ridiculous depth. And I know people will say, because last time we won and we didn't make a whole lot of changes, everybody was like, oh, here goes FSG, we're not building on what we have and stuff like that. I think you still can get some players. You have not spent money, and you probably have some players who want to go, like Kelleher and stuff like that. So you will get even more money coming in. So I think you will go out, but I can see this team just not doing any huge shopping in the offseason and still improve, because it'll be players who suit Slot more.
Yeah, and it'll be just another year under Slot, right? I mean, it's just even more understanding for everyone else that's there too. So we've always talked about if this is how it begins, you've got to be excited to see where it goes.
Exactly, and I think part of that is you got to understand the consistency overall. Yeah, Cousins enjoying the ride without those key guys somehow. Well, I don't know, Nunes isn't there, I guess, but more overall key guys. Even Nunes has played. I'll tell you what, by the way, especially your boy here. I was watching the video started, and Angie saw it coming. Like it was like the 101 goals like Liverpool has scored so far this season or something like that. And they were showing the goals. I think we're like into the 4th or 5th goal. And we went to the Milan match. And I was like, oh, they're showing Champions League too. And Angel's like, yeah, we're not watching this, because it was just like 101 goals. It's like a 30-minute video or something like that. But then after she left at night, it showed up as like, on my thing. I'm like, let me keep going on this. I'll tell you what, Jota, Diaz early in the season and Jota early in the season were huge in terms of. And he says it was an hour. You know what? This is the dangerous part. You're lucky. You can talk shit about Michelle. She's not watching. But this is the only reason Angel watches, by the way, so I don't talk shit about her.
Well, then, have you checked his Discord messages with me? Oh my God.
But by the way, he is getting. I think that's a similar situation too. That's a guy that up here he's already gone. And, it's hard to be a goalie that way. But going back to that, I mean, like Jota, played a huge part early in the season, and so did Diaz and stuff. So when you look at like the entirety of the season, and now you see Szoboszlai stepping up this portion of the season and stuff like that, that all these guys have chipped in. Even Nunez has kind of chipped in to the point where, you know, there are some like a few of his moments too in the Champions League and stuff like that. So you really should not be talking that much shit.
It really takes 16 to 18 guys for the entirety of the year to get you to a level where you need to be to win something, right? You can't bank on just 11 guys week in, week out, especially not with as many competitions as this club is in. You're gonna need help from everywhere. And so I think it's easy. Recency bias is a hell of a thing. And, you know, we'll see someone's form from the last 2 months and think they've been the greatest thing all year, where, you know, in the first couple of weeks that we've now forgotten about, they were a complete ass. And so it's one of those things where you have to have a lot of guys chip in as much as they need to when they need to get to this point.
Yeah, I mean, you need depth to be able to get things done. But I'll be honest, like that's another thing I thought as I was watching that is this team wins so differently compared to like the club teams when you watch those highlights and stuff like that. It's so less crazy. So part of what me, a guy like me who worries as a lifestyle, should probably enjoy this more because it feels calmer and less crazy. But at the same time, the worrying side of me, when the game is only 2-0 and stuff like that, I always worry because I'm like, if it's 2-1, the momentum is going to shift and all that kind of stuff. But you watch these highlights and there's not as crazy of highlights as a season that you would have. Oh, I remember that game and stuff. There are a lot of games that I don't even remember that game because it was like a 2-0 smooth sailing win. It was like a 3-1 smooth sailing win. It wasn't like this crazy 5-3. Oh, I remember we came back again at the end and stuff. There's not a lot of craziness when you watch those highlights, which says a lot about, like, I guess, how this season has folded. So let me ask you this on our way out as we get ready to the PSG game. Obviously, we'll be back on tonight, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, with Bickler and Galley. So we'll talk about this game a lot more, and obviously we have tomorrow morning as well. But looking at this fixture, looking at what's coming, I mean, with the PSG and then the Newcastle game afterwards and stuff, do you treat Southampton game as a free hit? Let's see how many angry people I get for this one. But do you treat it like that so that you focus on the PSG games as well as not wearing people down, playing the Southampton game, then going to the PSG game, then going to a final?
It's a good question. I think.
Thank you.
Never mind. I think, unfortunately, it's going to depend on the result this Wednesday. I think
I thought we were going to be like both.
I think it depends on.
Take it as a free hit, or you don't take it as a free hit.
It depends on both of all four things. No, if it's a good result on Wednesday, I think you can much more comfortably take that free hit on Saturday, so to speak, because arguably the free hit Liverpool takes is a lot stronger than the free hit that Southampton could take, you know, in sense of rotation, right?
Yeah.
This team with the depth should beat a team like Southampton if they're up for it. You know, I know right away, thank God Aaron isn't in here to talk about the stupid Plymouth game, because right away they'd be like, oh no, we had the depth for the Plymouth game, blah, blah. Yeah, the problem was the players weren't up for that game. Okay. That's the problem. And it was away. This is at Anfield. Again, after a Champions League night, I think if the Champions League game goes well, and I'm talking about maybe just a draw, right? Because you're away at PSG. If you can get a draw out of that game, I think you're content with that, depending on how you get that draw. You know, if it's something where you have a 90th minute equalizer that comes off a mistake, it's going to hurt a lot more. But I think if the result is good on Wednesday, you rotate the hell out of Saturday, and then you come back Tuesday and you take that tie, and then you take that momentum into the final with the same guys that Sunday. So yes, I think Southampton is more of a free hit. I do hope to see rotation. I don't know how much we'll see, because I do think that as much as Slot has shown that he will rotate a little bit, he does really like momentum, and I think he likes the consistency of play. So there's a chance that we don't see a ton of it. And maybe it's just one of those where he wants to keep his foot on the gas for the Premier League too, and not really maybe not make a statement that says, "Oh, we think we've already won it. We're going to put all of our subs in," right? Because sends a certain kind of statement too. So I think we'll see a little bit of rotation, but not as much as people want, I believe.
Yeah, that's why I'm torn on this. John doesn't like a free hit, that's for sure. But at least I didn't get an exclamation point on this one. Yeah, I mean, that's a good argument that you can make too, though, that, there's only freaking 4 games. And you can say, suck it up, Buttercup. But I don't think it's all about just sucking it up either. I feel, I think you don't play Robertson all 4 games, for example. You probably play Costas against Southampton. And then you maybe even start Bradley or put Bradley in, or you have scheduled subs in the Southampton game where, Bradley starts, maybe you bring Trent in the last 30 or vice versa or something like that. You start Nunez against Southampton. I think you do some rotation. You don't go League Cup or Plymouth. I mean, why not trot out Chiesa against Southampton and then have the guys on the bench? I think the biggest thing with the Plymouth game was he didn't even want to be tempted. And people were not even on the side, so you could break glass, and it was empty inside. So I think now you can, if things are not going well, you can break glass and you can bring Szoboszlai, and I don't think you start Szoboszlai. Maybe you start Jones, and I think that kind of a rotation where you do little tweaks and not run them off. I mean, I think John's case is a good case in terms of it's 4 games, man. Suck it up, 4 games. I understand that, but at the same time, I mean, you can tell that to the mind, but you can't tell that to the legs. And last thing you want is like a hamstring or something like that being pulled.
It's a lot harder to swallow a serious injury happening against Southampton than a serious injury happening against PSG. I think that's mentally, at least for fans, it's just you want the games to matter. I mean, we'll always talk about that stupid Champions League rubber match against Midtjylland when Klopp put out 11 players that shouldn't have been playing that game. Jota gets hurt for months, and it's stuff like that is frustrating. In that case, even then, that was a group done. That wasn't even the Premier League's not done officially, right? So there's still something to be won, but even then, it's like you don't want to take that risk because it's a lot harder to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Costas as earning games. I probably earned more games than Costas, but
he's earned games because Robertson's lost them.
Yeah, in some ways, or Robertson just can't give you that many games.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
I mean, so there's that. So I think he does go out there and play the games. I just don't feel confident with that dude at all, especially defensively. It just feels like. I don't understand. You would think, I mean, obviously he's made it to this freaking level, right? It's like national team, Liverpool and stuff like that. But he's the kind of a guy that would come to a tryout and be like, yeah, man, you just don't have the strength for this level kind of a thing, and send him or go get some sleep. You look dead kind of a thing, and send him packing. But I think, he gets the game. And I know what, John is talking about in terms of maybe it's too early, because this is almost on paper looks like a guaranteed 3 points against Southampton. The next day, Arsenal go away to United, which, I mean, they have Champions League to worry about, and now it's the only thing they have. So, but at the same time, so does Manchester United. That's the only thing they have now is Europa to be able to go to the Champions League next year.
I disagree, though. I think United also have the pride for the Premier League they have to fight for. I don't think you can, as a fan of that team.
Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, if they finish 15th or lower, 14th or lower, that's not acceptable for that club. I think so. As much as they want Europa to get in the Champions League potentially, you can't have them finish bottom 5, bottom 6 in the league. The club just won't have that.
I mean, they cannot have that all they want, but I mean, you look at the standings now; it's not very realistic for them to climb up a lot. I mean, not higher than 12. They're not catching Brentford.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is that you're talking about them, Arsenal maybe prioritizing Champions League, United maybe prioritizing the Europa. While both of those things are true, I think United also are going to put in a lot more stock in the Premier League because Arsenal finishing 2nd to 4th, whatever, right? I mean, it is what it is.
I see what you mean.
But United finishing 14th or lower, not acceptable.
But I think it goes back to me, like I don't expect a lot out of that game. I know Old Trafford is never an easy place to go to and stuff like that, but man,
unless you're Fulham.
yeah, I mean, exactly. There's a whole thing about like ability too. Like, I almost feel like an Arsenal game that doesn't care is still better than a United team who does about the Premier League. I mean, they're just freaking bad. There's a reason why they're 14th in the league. They're just that freaking bad, which, honestly, it makes how do we not beat them at home? And I think that was like, we talk about like a Southampton game in the past like that, right? Looking down at the opposition. That was probably the best game they played all season, is the game they played on Anfield. And I think that was us kind of like trying to cruise too much in a game like that, and kind of like giving it up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope. But Southampton, I think, like going back to what you're saying, you should be able to beat while doing some rotation. But let's see what happens on Wednesday, because you might be right. That might have a lot to do with it as well, because honestly, then it will be like, hey, maybe we can rotate a little bit. Maybe it'll go so well this Wednesday, we'll rotate against PSG. How about that?
I was gonna say, yeah, it goes 4-0 away at PSG. We play a full squad, the starting 11 at Southampton, then rotate for PSG at home.
Southampton cussing up a storm as we're beating PSG 4-0. He's like, God damn it.
This was our chance.
It's Monday. Who's getting groomed? All right. Grooming
it is I. As you can see by this mop on my head. It is I.
That's it. You have fun grooming. I'll be back with the gang today at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern with the Monday night podcast. Do tune in and join us then for some more conversation as we kind of look ahead, probably more of the whole PSG matchup and stuff like that as well. Otherwise, like, subscribe, do all those things, throw that thumbs up over there, and then, yeah, go grab a friend by the ear. Really, I mean, we've kind of like gained a lot of followers in the last few weeks over here, and I really do think it's mainly, hopefully, people, dragging people over, grabbing them by the ear, because that's really how the word kind of flows. So do share a timeline, whatever you want to call it. And you want to join us with your shaggy hair and then come on air as well, why not? There's always rectangles available for everybody. Send us a message and we'd love to have you join the gang as well. So have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you guys later today, 7 o'clock Central. Take care.